Hey there. Let's set up the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild for crowd control. This video is going to be a little bit longer than most of our other game setups, only because this is one of our more intricate games to set up. You'll notice that once we've selected our game, our pack is automatically loaded for us. If the pack doesn't automatically load, feel free to reach out to support. Next, we will ask that you please read the game guide. This is very important. There's a lot of steps to go through, and in order to get everything working right, it's important that you follow them closely. Once you've read it, you can go ahead and select I've read the game guide. The next thing we're going to want to do is install Cemu. So go ahead and click on this third step. We will automatically install Cemu for you. It's important to note for Breath of the Wild, we only support the US version of this game with all of the game updates and the DLC pack. If you don't own the DLC, you'll need to go to the eShop and purchase it. Otherwise, crowd control will not work. Next, you'll need to dump your game ROM. If you need help, check our game guide for a separate link to a Cemu guide to dumping games. Once you have your ROM dumped, we can start selecting it in crowd control. We'll go ahead and click on this 4-step select ROM, and you'll want to point us to wherever the u-king.rpx file is. The file path should look something like Breath of the Wild, game, Breath of the Wild, code, and then uking.rpx. Now that we have all the checkmark screen, we're going to want to add the ROM directly to Cemu. So we'll go ahead and click on Cemu, take us to the file folder, and we'll open the Cemu application. Next, we'll want to go to Options, General Settings, and then where it says Game Path, you'll go ahead and hit Add, and you'll just find the file folder that has your game in it. You should now see the Breath of the Wild in your Cemu game list, but it will be lacking the updates DLC, so let's install them. We'll select File, Install Game Title, Update or DLC, and now we'll want to find the metadata file for the game's updates. So we'll click Breath of the Wild in here. Go to Update, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Meta, and Open. We'll skip ahead as it loads. Great. Now we'll do the same for the DLC. Go to File, Install Game Title and Update. We'll go back in here to the DLC, Metadata, and Open. We'll skip ahead again as it loads. Great. And now you should see Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild with version 208, DLC 80, and the region as USA. In Cemu, under Tools and Title Manager, you should now see the USA version 80 DLC, as well as the USA version 208 update. If the game is missing, displays different numbers, or displays a different region, then crowd control will not work. Please ensure you have the correct version of the game and repeat the previous steps in the guide. If everything looks right, you're almost done. For optimal functionality and performance, we'll want to check your game's profile. Right-click on Breath of the Wild in the Games list and select Edit Game Profile. You should edit the options to match the below screenshot, namely ensuring that the mode is triple-core recompiler and thread quantum is on the highest setting. If you have a slightly slower CPU or not as many cores as recommended, then you may need to lower the threads. Feel free to test the settings yourself and find what works best for you, but please ensure mode remains triple-core recompiler. It's also important to note that updating the graphics pack is known to cause issues, so please keep the versions we ship with our emulator package. If you right-click and go into Edit Graphics Pack, we'll take a quick look at the list of known working graphics pack mods. Extended memory is known not to work. Now that we have all green check marks, we're ready to launch the game. Go ahead and click Launch Game, and let's skip ahead a bit. Great, now that we're in the game, let's take a minute and talk about a few important things. When Cemu runs Breath of the Wild, it will process and generate the shaders as the game is played. So the first time you explore a new area, use a new mechanic, fight a new creature, your game will experience some slowdown. The good news is once you've explored enough, you should no longer need to process them as you're playing. Cemu will use the cached files. We highly recommend that you run around Hyrule a bit before you stream so you don't experience any of the slowdown on stream, potentially even using some of the effects in crowd control to give yourself a speed boost. Another important thing is if this is your first time playing, you will need to get to a point at which you can save the game, and then you want to reload your save, as only then will the game load the DLC. Once you've loaded into your save, then you can open the crowd control app, open Breath of the Wild, it should automatically detect and connect to the emulator, then you'll be right where I'm at, and all you have to do is click Start Session. You'll see the effects pop up on the right side of the crowd control app. We recommend you start testing before you go live to make sure that everything works. You can change it to nighttime, give Link giant weapons and objects, all sorts of stuff. You will have to progress far enough in the game for certain effects to work. For example, Freeze and Lightning Strike will not work unless Link has enough hearts. Additionally, you will not be able to add or remove arrows until Link has collected that type of arrow. For some quick common troubleshooting, you may use the Launch Game button in the Crowd Control app, but it can sometimes experience issues that prevent the app from hooking into the game. You can open the CMU emulator manually and close out the Crowd Control app. Then, once you have the game running and you've loaded into a save, go ahead and open the Crowd Control app and hit Start Session. If you have any other questions, please refer to the game guide, and if you're still having trouble, you can always reach out to us on Discord for support. Thanks for choosing Crowd Control, and we hope you enjoy your session.